right, let's get down to business. That's enough of that. But how good is Lee Greenwood? He was with us right from the beginning. First time I walked onto the stage, I heard that song. I liked it. I said, let's use it. That was 10 years ago, and he's been with us all the way. Fantastic guy. There's never been a man that made so much money from one song ever, and I'm happy about it. But I'm delighted to be back in the beautiful Mellon Auditorium, a wonderful family. Tim Mellon is a great guy. He's the current version of the Mellons, a fantastic person. To celebrate a thrilling new milestone for America, the first generation of Trump account children. Trump account children. For the first time ever, we're going to give every newborn American child a financial stake in the future, head start at life, and a fair shot at the American dream, something people don't talk about so much, at least not for the last 4 years they haven't been, but now they're talking about it big. This last period of time, it's been unbelievable. When you see what's going on with our economy, the tremendous investments that's been made in our country. We have over $18 trillion coming in. The most, I think, was 3. That was 10 years ago, another country, not even our country. We have $18 trillion, and we have thousands of businesses being built all over the country, and hundreds of massive plants, so big, car plants, AI plants. With the support of the men and women here in this beautiful room, over the next 15 years, we're going to put $3 to $4 trillion of wealth into the hands of young Americans who otherwise would have really started out with nothing. It's really an amazing thing because it gives young children that start out with really nothing, and it gives them, boy, it's more money than anybody could imagine. From their standpoint, they'll have a real start in life, and that's why decades from now, I believe the Trump accounts will be remembered as one of the most transformative policy innovations of all time. And I've done a lot of them. The tax cuts, we've done a lot of them, more than I think anybody. And I think this is going to be one of the most outstanding. Last summer, I signed the great, big, beautiful bill delivering. It made this possible, too. It actually made this possible. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Delivering the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And, you know, we did another thing. When you buy a car now, you get a deduction on the interest payment if you borrow money. So think of it. Rich people get so many deductions. I'm the king of deductions. I love deductions. But people, middle-income people, never had a deduction before. Now they're getting a deduction on interest. They buy a car. That's going to have a huge impact on the automobile. By the way, there's one proviso. It has to be made in America. If the car is made in another country, no thank you. But they're all going to be made in America pretty soon because we have factories coming in from Canada, Mexico, Japan, Germany, all over Europe. They're all coming here to make their cars because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. It wasn't very complicated. You'll see those numbers starting to produce. That's why you see these massive construction numbers, and soon when those things start opening, you're going to see employment, and you're going to see wealth creation for middle-income people like you've never seen before. Every single Democrat in Congress voted to raise taxes on hardworking citizens. Their whole campaign was raise taxes. I've never heard of it before. All my life I grew up, and I hear politicians, we will cut taxes. This is the only group I've ever seen, we're going to raise your taxes. No wonder they lost. Actually, there were other reasons also. But together with the majorities in the House and Senate, we overcame their obstruction, and we put more money into the pockets of every working American than anyone thought even imaginable. Perhaps no provision of the great, big, beautiful bill will prove more consequential than Trump accounts. Under this program, the U.S. government will automatically create a tax-free investment account for every newborn American child, something that nobody really would have even thought of. There were some brilliant people that thought of it for a long time. They're here with us today. We're going to introduce a couple of them. but nobody really, I mean, I've had friends at the top people in business, they came up to me, whose idea was this? This is great. They said, I never thought of that. We'll fund those personal accounts with a seed contribution of $1,000, which will compound and grow over the course of their lives and could grow into very, very substantial numbers. Parents, employers, churches, states, and loved ones will also be able to add up to $5,000 in additional money for those accounts. And with every modest contribution, Trump accounts should reach at least $50,000 in value by the time the child turns 18, and could be very substantially more than that. With slightly greater contributions, the typical account will grow to $100,000, $200,000, and can even grow up to past $300,000 per child. And we think the most likely case is in the $200,000, $300,000 range. The size and scale of this wealth will dwarf all government programs ever created to benefit America's youth. There's never been anything like this. That's why everybody's talking about it. Even really people that truly hate me are making this investment. One person hates my guts. He put $1 billion into it. I said, you must like this program a lot because you can't stand me. I said, I do, but I do like you more than you think. They liked me more in the last year than they liked me before. Although we had a great first term, we can't forget that. We have the greatest economy in the history of our country, but this is blowing it away. So every president, thank you. Every president in modern history has left our children with nothing but debt. But under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom. We'll ensure that Americans don't just end their lives with a nest egg, but instead all Americans will begin their lives with a beautiful nest egg. There's never been anything quite like this. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to a very special couple who believed so strongly in this vision right from the beginning that they personally donated $6.25 billion. That's $6,250,000,000. Even the 250 is a lot of money when you think. I mean, you know, Nicki, do you hear that money? That's big even compared to rapping. All the money she makes, she's hearing a number like that. She'll say, how many songs do I have to make to catch that? But amazing thing, $6,250,000,000 to fund Trump accounts for an additional 25 million children aged 10 and under. And that's Michael and Susan Dell, two incredible people. Where are you, Michael? Where's Michael? Stand up, Michael. What a great guy. What a great guy. You know, I tell you, he didn't do it for his business. He did it, I guess, probably would have been better off not to. That's a lot. But you know what? I hope everybody goes out and buys Dell computers. My son, I told you, Barron, he loves that computer. I don't know what the hell you're doing to it, but he likes it. But I just want to thank you very much, and Susan. It's unbelievable, really unbelievable what you've done. So Michael and Susan made this donation in recognition of America's 250th anniversary because there's no better way to honor America's history than to invest in America's future. That's what they did. And this is perhaps the largest, one of the largest certainly, but perhaps the largest private donations of all time. That's a lot, $6,250,000,000. And somebody did say that. A friend of mine, very rich, he's going to put up $100 million. And he said, geez, you know, think of it, the 250 that Michael has is a lot more than mine. And I haven't even talked about the $6 billion. But anyway, it's amazing when Michael can start off with very little money and build a fortune where he can, routinely make such a payment and investment in the youth of our country. Michael, you're great. Thank you, man. Thank you. And I also want to say hello to and thank some very special people that have been with my administration and really become friends of mine. On occasion, I have little arguments, but generally, I would say really good. And start off with a man who's doing a phenomenal job, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Scott, thank you very much, Scott. And he loved this right from the beginning, Scott, right? He saw this and he said, wow, what a great idea that is. This is, hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time they reach 18, but we can go 21. They can keep it in longer. But he saw this right from the beginning. He said, wow, this is great. And we have some other ideas that will be great, but this was one that just hit everybody. This was an easy one to think about. And again, that bill allowed us to do this. Otherwise, can you imagine trying to get this approved by Democrats and Republicans? Let's get together. We got it done. Also, a man who's made your life much easier, because those of you that are building plants and equipment so you can give your money, ultimately you're giving your money away anyway, no matter how much you make. But he's made it a lot easier. Approvals for big plants used to take 20 years, 25 years, and then you'd get rejected, actually. You'd go 20 years environmentally and they'd reject you. You finally, if I think of it, a guy starts young, he starts an approval process. By the time he's middle-aged, they take a vote and he loses. It's not worth it. But we have a man that's getting these things done in a matter of weeks. And the biggest plants in the world are being built right now, and he's getting them done fast. He's getting electric plants built so that we can buy them. They're paying for them. They want to pay for them. So they can open up their AI plants and they can open up their automobile plants, and lesser so. The automobiles, believe it or not, take much less electricity. You're going to have to tell me why you need so much electricity to create information. I said, what's your primary product? Information. Oh, I see. Information. It better be damn good information for the kind of money. But Lee Zeldin is a star. And he has been incredible. Thank you, Lee. And, I have to say this. Scott and I were talking about it. So Lee went out to California after the fire, which should have never happened if they would have let the water flow from the Pacific Northwest, which everybody's been telling them, including me. Now I just opened it up. We literally sent in the military to open it up. But if they would have let, you wouldn't have had the fires, because you would have had a little thing called the old-fashioned way, water in the fire hydrants as opposed to empty fire hydrants. You would have had water, and most of the houses had the sprinklers on top. No, there was no water in their sprinkler in their living room. All those fires wouldn't have started. But they did start, and I will say that Lee, the most difficult permit was Lee. I went there a couple of days after the fire, met so many people on the streets who were, in many cases, fairly wealthy people. Some very rich people. Some of the best houses in California burned down. And I said to them, so what do you want to do? They said, sir, we want to start immediately. Well, we'll get you permits. Now, the hardest permit, Lee, was the federal permit. Is that right? He got everything done in 20 days, right? The whole thing? Is that a correct statement or less? 20 days. So he got everything done, 100% ready to go. And I went for a meeting. And this mayor, who's a grossly incompetent person, she said, we're going to try and have the permits done within 2 years. Remember that? I got into an argument. I said, you mean within 2 days, right? She said, no. And I'm meeting all these people as I'm walking along the streets with the fire departments and the policemen, and they're all devastated. They're still smoldering. They weren't even allowed to go in their property. The Environmental Protection Agency local said, don't go on your property, okay? We said, it's okay, don't worry about it. Any problem is gone. Any problem is burned. Any germs are burned. They're burned. They were burned. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, but all so unnecessary that it happened. But we got it all done in 20 days, the whole place. And yet now, still, more than a year later, they don't have permits. Almost nobody is building. So I haven't told this to Lee Zeldin yet, but I'm going to put you in charge of getting permits. I think we're going to override the local authorities because they're never going to have it. And when I was told that there's a provision where you can override the local authority to get things done, because it's really, to me, it's a national emergency. What they've done to these people is horrible. It's just horrible. And they'll still vote Democrat. Can you believe it? After all, it's just, they get used to it. Although I must say we converted many. We'll probably convert a lot more. But I just want them to get into their houses. And I don't want a big section of the area built into low-income housing. They want to put low-income housing right smack in the middle of it. And that's not the American dream, you know? You didn't do that. And low-income housing is great. I built a lot of low-income housing, but you don't put it there. This is one of the richest neighborhoods in the world, and we're going to let those people. And I recommend it strongly that everybody gets the approval, immediate approval to build a house, and you give them a 10% bonus so they can build a house 10% larger than they had before if they want, for all the suffering they've been caused. So they can build a little bit bigger house. So, Lee, if you want, will you accept the job? Huh? He's under a lot of stress. Okay? All right? Override those people. Those people are incompetent. Between the mayor and the governor, they're incompetent. They'll never get approved. They'll never get approved. So do whatever you can, Lee. There's a provision that you're allowed to do it, and I'll sign it in 2 seconds, frankly. It'll never happen. I also want to introduce a man, Frank Persigno. Now, if you met Frank and if you knew Frank, he's quiet, but he's actually a stone-cold killer. He was one of the biggest people in business. He would have been sitting with you. In fact, now he's got a better seat because he's working for the government. He's the head of a lot of things, but the job he's done in this country is great, and he's working on Social Security and a thing called the IRS. He's working with Scott on both of them, really, but the IRS in particular. And he is a fantastic man. Where are you, Frank? Took the biggest pay cut in history. He went from being paid $35 million a year to being paid about $35 a year. I think you may have taken the biggest pay cut in history. He'd be close. He'd be one of the top 5. Because a few people have done that. A few billionaires have sort of left. But Frank has gone from one of the most successful people. He worked with Jamie Dimon. I don't think Jamie likes me too much nowadays, but that's okay. I never minded that. But Frank, you are fantastic, and you're doing a great job. We appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to the family. The director of National Economic Council, a man who's in the news a lot. You know, my only problem is I don't want to lose him. I will tell you that he's working from a big deficit because I don't want to lose him. He's so good. Kevin Hassett. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. A friend of mine, a senator who has been unbelievable. She's a tremendous woman, married to a great football player. Her husband is a massive man. This guy, he played in the NFL, I guess, for 11 years. He was top-of-the-line player. I met him. I said, that's not a normal situation. Look at this guy. This guy was seriously powerful, big, and he's as nice as he is big. And she is one of our best senators, Senator Katie Britt. Thank you, darling. From Alabama. I love Alabama. We love Alabama. Marsha Blackburn is an incredible person. Unfortunately, she's running for governor. She's running for governor of Tennessee. I'd love her not to. I begged her. I said, Marsha, we don't want to lose you in the Senate. But I have to say they're lucky. They're lucky to get you because you are a talent and a great person. And you've been with me all the way, and I appreciate it. And you're a very special person. Marsha, stand up, please. And a senator who's a friend of mine, you wouldn't believe that because we went through a rough campaign together. It was nasty. We got along so well, and we actually did joint rallies. Can you believe it? He wanted to get some of the action, so he's smart. He said, would you do a rally with me? But we did joint rallies, and the press used to say, will you ever, start fighting? I said, don't worry, it'll come. He said the same thing. Don't worry, it'll come. He's a very tough guy, very brilliant guy. In fact, when I said, because I had never gone into a debate before officially. My whole life was a debate, but I'd never debated before officially. And I said, let me find out about my competition. Who are these people? Because many of them, they were senators and mostly senators and governors. And I said, well, why don't we start with this guy named Ted Cruz? Let me, he was the best student at Harvard. #1 in his class. He was the best student at Princeton or something. And he was the national debate champion for 3 years. And I said, well, I don't like that. I didn't know that. I don't like that. And he was a very good debater, I will tell you that. He's a smart guy, But I'll never forget, because he was the first one I looked at. I just joined the ranks of politics, and the first famous, that was the Rosie O'Donnell. Remember that? Only Rosie O'Donnell? Ireland, you can keep her. Ireland has done us tremendous. The head of Ireland said, "Are all your people this way? We don't want that." But Ted Cruz has one thing that I like. If I ever have problems, because it's hard to get people approved, he's a brilliant legal mind. He's a brilliant man. If I nominate him for the United States Supreme Court, I will get 100% of the vote. The Democrats will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out. And the Republicans will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out, too. Where's Ted? Where are you, Ted? And with all of that being said, he's a great guy, too. He's a great guy. We've become friends, and he's a very effective person, too. Thank you, Ted, very much. The man knows more about tax than anybody that I know. Jason Smith, Congressman, wonderful person. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Great job. Idaho Governor Brad Little, terrific guy. Thank you, Brad. Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who hopefully will be the governor of Georgia very shortly. They have a big race. He's leading by a lot in the polls. He was outstanding as a lieutenant governor. He's great everywhere, and I've endorsed him fully, so I don't want to, do anything that you don't know about. I have given him my complete and total endorsement. Burt Jones, where are you, Burt? Thank you, Burt. Great guy. Chief Design Officer of the United States, Joe Gebbia. Joe, thank you. Great idea. Great ideas. Also, we have Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. I like Kevin O'Leary. Where's Kevin O'Leary? Come on. Kevin, it's so nice. He's with me 90% of the time, but when he's with me, he's really with me. Great. And we got the TikTok deal done. Who the hell thought we could do that, right? I know. I wish he wanted to buy TikTok so much, and I would have done it, but his price was slightly lower. Slightly. He's fantastic. What a good, you're an entertainer, businessman, you had the whole quality, so I appreciate. I know what you did. Having done The Apprentice, I see you on television. You have what it takes, right? So I appreciate it, and thanks for all the nice things you do. And Cheryl Hines. Where's Cheryl? Wow. Married to a very, very powerful, important man. And I said, I'll tell you, Bobby, she's strong. I watched her in an interview. I said, Bobby, you keep him in line, don't you? Huh? She said, yes, I do. She's got no choice. He's doing a great job, and so are you. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's doing a very different kind of a job, too, and he's doing things that people have wanted to do for a long time. And they didn't have the courage, so say hello to Bobby, okay? We're also pleased, my daughter, she went crazy when she heard that this was happening. I want to go. She happens to be in the wrong state right now for that, but when she heard that there's a certain person that's here who's the greatest and most successful female rapper in history, Nicki Minaj. Come on. And, and Nicki makes a lot of cash. Not as much as Michael Dell. Not quite. Not as much. But that's okay. But Nicki makes a lot of money, and she's generously stepping up. She's investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in Trump accounts to support the children and really the children of her incredible fans. That's great. Focus on that. Why should you give to somebody else's fans? Give to your fans. I like that. But and I just think she's great. I've been hearing so much over the years, because I didn't know Nicki, and I've been hearing over the years she's a big Trump supporter and a Trump fan, and she took a little heat on occasion. Her community isn't necessarily, I tell you, we did pretty damn well with that, with your community, as we say. But Nicki has been an unbelievable supporter. She gets almost as much as Mr. Wonderful over here. He's been another one that's been so good. But I'd like to ask you to come up, Nicki. Come on up. Come on. She's been such a great supporter, and a great supporter of Trump accounts. And I said, I'm going to let my nails grow, because I love those nails. I'm going to let those nails grow. She's so good. She's been MAGA. What can I say? She's been with us all the way. Right, Alex?